Welcome back to Rock and Rattle Retreat. This is your first time with us? We are building an off-grid house on top of a mountain. And when we mean off-grid, we mean we gotta put up solar panels. So we're down here at the solar panel field. And we got to dig a trench from this, where the racks are here. There's going to be two of them, one here and one back a little bit. And we had to dig a trench all the way through. Now we're going to put in conduit. So there's one piece of conduit in this trench with a whole bunch of leaves. People seen leaves blow before. We're not going to show that part. But here's the trench. So the trench is almost 200 feet long. We got a few rocks out of it, which I'll show you later. And this is why we weren't actually digging holes to put in posts. See the previous video on that? But we got this trench in, all nice and dug. Now we gotta put conduit in it. And it goes around corners, and we're gonna go into the house right there. First thing is we have these 6 panels sitting here, temporary, and we gotta unplug them. So we gotta get something in there to unplug it, and the normal little tool that they give you doesn't really get in there, so I'm using some needle nose pliers to get in there and unplug this. And I'll show you why we got to unplug it in a second. It's kind of weird. Usually those prongs are visible from the outside. This one had little holes in it. You had to stick something in to get it, and the tool didn't quite get in there. Okay, unplugged. And there's 2 of those. So in order to get it, the conduit in here, I have a working elbow, electrical elbow right there, and we gotta take this piece off, which of course the solar wires are going through, and that's one reason we gotta unplug it, so I can get these wires out of this thing. There we go, there's one part. Now this elbow, which is going to go on that pipe that's sticking out, and there's no way of getting it in there without putting this through here. Oops, wrong way. Yep, goofoed. And it goes in this way. The wire's got to come out, so we can still plug in to the panels over there behind me, so we get a little bit of juice coming in and feeding the batteries once in a while. That's a whole nother explanation of the problem we got. So this is going to go on that one. All the wires from the panels out there are going to come up this conduit and then into that elbow and into the house, and then it'll hook up to the actual inverters, and we'll have a better charge on the batteries. So comes up, goes in. Right now we're just going to plug these back into the solar panels that are behind me. But that is the temp right there for the second. And we got to put all the zip ties back in and everything. Okay, so to make this a little better, before we run any actual wires or do the rest of the conduit, and that I took off there is some copper mesh. Keeps critters from going in that hole and into the house. Okay, We're going to make this a permanent fitting. We're going to start off with making sure stuff doesn't run down this. And put a little primer in here. Don't need to prime the wire, just the inside. And then prime what's coming out of the house. Make sure we don't have any purple drips everywhere. Luckily there was no drips. The other thing that wasn't done was there was no caulking around this. No sealing, so no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Yes, there we go, pick that up. There we go. Foam gun. We're going to put a little bit of foam around the joint so that it seals it up a little better. So when we do put that elbow on there, air and bugs and whatever is not going to go around the pipe into the house. We also did some on the inside, but it's dark in there and doesn't film very good. Okay. Clean up on aisle 1. Now what am I doing? Okay, now we can put some of this great adhesive, which just basically melts the two plastics together. So it's really a good bond. Just got to get it on it while it's still wet and move it around a little bit and get it straight down. And a little more caulk or a little more foam around it. Get it situated, more foam. Probably come back later and do some more, who knows. Okay, so there's that part. Now I can't actually put the cover on this until the wire's pulled. But we can put the bottom on, which is this big sweeping elbow. Which of course had to be bent a little bit to fit in that ditch I got going on down there. And of course you got to prime it. So, if you really need to bend one of these things, I suggest heating up some sand hot, 200 to 300 degrees, and then pouring the sand in the pipe, elbow pipe, and letting the sand heat up the pipe consistently all the way around, and then bend it. Come on, dude, get it in there before the adhesive dries. Up we go. Get my feet out of the way. Ooh, looky, Willie Bear. It don't seem that thick this year, so may not have bad winter. Okay, I got some dirt over the pipe. The next conduit's sitting on it. The conduit actually bends pretty good by itself, and we got all the conduit done here, at least up until it goes around the wood pile. So I got some stuff over some of the conduit to hold it in place. I mean, these been pretty darn good. Stick them in and bend them, and they just bend. They don't break, at least. If you're doing it in sub-freezing temperatures, they might break. Okay, so I got it down to here. And then the next one is down here. Now, in the middle here, where my foot was down there, is where the next row of panels are going. And here's where the first row of panels are going to go. So that's all going to be set up yet. So the only way I can think of doing this, somebody else correct me, is I got to come out of the ground with the first set of cables, so where the next set of panels are going, the wire's got to come out of the ground and go back in the ground. I don't know of any like Y's for electrical conduit. And mark it and cut it. So to have a wire running all the way from the first set of panels all the way to the house, and then come in with another set of wires from the second row of panels, and the wire come into the same conduit. I couldn't figure that one out. But I'm coming out of the ground with the wire and then going back in the ground with the wire, so it'll come up and go back down. So I got two of these long sweep elbows. So this is the first one. It goes back in the ground to the house. Get it on here. And then let's see if we can get it a little bit level, at least this way, coming out of the ground. Because how do you get the first wire to go all the way through, and then a second wire to come in partial way through that conduit? I couldn't figure it out, so it's got to come out, go back in. Now I need to mark another piece of conduit, so that other elbow will come out in the same area. So we can go up and down. So match up that conduit to that one, and then figure out where this is going to come out. Right here next to this one. Mark that conduit. Yeah, pretty close. And then go cut that one. Come on. Pick it up. Now I gotta get out of the trench. And go off and cut it. Just like the first one. And there we go, another piece of conduit. And bring it back. And glue it all together. And I'm getting warm. So, just let you know, some solar companies selling solar pieces like rails and bolts and nuts and everything don't all have the same amount of stock in hand. And I got to one where I'm ordering the rails, and lo and behold, I ordered them, paid the money, wait for them to ship. After they were supposed to ship, never got any information. Had to call them up several times. Somebody finally got back to me and says, we don't have anybody going up there to deliver these. And I go, well, you're only 7, 8 hours away from me. Can I come pick them up? So they had to go get authorization for me to come pick them up. And they finally did after days. Said, yeah, we got the authorization for you to come down here and pick them up. And then I'm waiting for them to tell me when I can come pick them up. And a day or two goes by and they say, oh, we can't even actually get them delivered here. You have to go to the other coast and pick them up if you want to pick them up. So I said, cancel my order. Cancel the whole thing. I am not driving 2,500 miles or 3,000 miles to go pick them up. I was willing to drive 7 hours to go pick them up. I'm going to say 7, 8 hours to go down, get a hotel room, not get a delivery charge of $600, get a hotel for the night, pick them up the next morning and drive home. No, I would have to drive 4 or 5 days to go pick them up, and then 4 to 5 days back to get them back to my house, this house. No, not doing that. So here I am taking some of the dirt that I had excavated from that trench and refilling. Yeah, I picked a lot of rocks out. As you can see, on top of that rock back there is rocks I had picked out of it. So there was a lot of smaller rocks in this fill dirt, and there's probably still some in it. So I'm filling the trench back up. Put dirt back on top of this conduit, and I am not filling it completely up. So what I did basically was take the old stuff that I dug out and put it back on top of the pipe, and then I get it up so far and I drive the tractor over it. Talk about fun. A small tractor being driven over this dirt and compacting it in. The tractor leaned a lot. Trick, put an outrigger down on that side. So if it does tip over or start tipping, the outrigger will stop it from tipping too far over and tipping you over. Just a trick. I never actually landed on my outrigger, so I didn't actually need it, but it was there in case. And that's the outrigger for the backhoe. And I'm using the backhoe to put it back in, though I don't get all of it. And then pick up a lot of more rock out of that area. And here's my pile of rock that I've already taken out of the trench. So, trying to backfill the trench, come across more rocks. Just a lot more rock. And this is why I'm not digging in this soil to put posts in for the solar. Yeah, another bucket full. There was a lot of rock. Okay, I'm going off and got the bucket off, and I'm putting on the grapple. because there's a lot of bigger rock in that dirt that I want to get out. And this is my two-tier storage. I have a box blade on the lower portion and my grapple on the upper portion, so I use less floor space. And there is wheels underneath there, so I could wheel that out also. And we get the grapple. Okay, I do make a mistake coming up. Can anybody catch it before it actually happens? So if you've seen the problem, stop the video here and give me a comment of what the problem is. Nope, can't find it. Now you'll find it in a few seconds. Here we go, trying to get some of this bigger rock out of here. See, there's a rock up there, and there's also a rock underneath that. There it is. The grapple helps get through the dirt to just get to the rock, and there's the problem. I didn't get the grapple actually locked in. I got the hoses connected. Doesn't that count for something? Lock it in. Shame on me. Okay. Look at that rock. Alright. Instead of actually going and putting it over on the pile, I'll just put it here for a second, because I think I can get both of these rocks at the same time. So I can just make one trip down there to put it down versus two separate trips. I don't know if this is any better. Come on, rock. Work with me. Okay. Now. Boom. And it doesn't want to work with me, of course. Those damn rocks have a mind of their own. Okay, take the smaller rock, pick it up, and put it on top of the bigger rock, and then pick up, hopefully, pick up both rocks. Hope this works. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Work, grapple, work. And there we go. We got both rocks. Alrighty. Then down to the pile over there. And here we have the time lapse of doing that same thing, and a whole bunch more. Look at that rock. Sift through the dirt and find some more rocks. That's what that grapple's for. Actually, it's a root rake grapple, so it's supposed to go through and get the roots. And there was another rock over here, but it is an iceberg rock. So, and what do I mean by iceberg? This is what I mean. So I was in here cleaning up some of the old wood and stumps and crud. And you see where the bucket of the backhoe is? It's pointing down there to that little rock that's sticking up. I kept hitting the skid plate on that. So I decided, well, let's just take it out. Then I won't hit it anymore and it won't bump me around. Should get a wheel up on that thing and it tips you over. And then I start coming up. It's like, oh, that's a big one. But it was moving. But this is what I mean, iceberg. A little piece of it sticking up. Not the whole thing. Come around with the grapple. Roll it around a little bit. Come on, come on. Finally get it out. I'm going to stick it in here between the baskets. There, I got it covered up. Took some of that dirt and poured in there and filled it back in. And there's that rock. Little piece was sticking up, causing me problems. There's a bigger rock underneath. And there's the trench still. I will finish that up eventually. It'll probably be next video. Here's the conduit coming out and going back in, and another row of panels will go in there. There's one of the logs I had to get out. And here is all the rock at the moment. Well, not all of it, but it's most of it that came out of that trench. Yeah, so that's all we got this time. Subscribe, like, comment. Give me some love, guys. If you've seen a couple of these, subscribe finally and keep track of us, because we got more coming. Lots more coming. We're not done yet. We'll see you later.